Even the imagery of Father Christmas, or Santa Claus, bears a striking resemblance to Saturn. An old man with a long beard, surrounded by children. Saturn, the evil, child sacrifice demanding old man, appears in modern society in two more guises. Every December, Saturn, the god of time, reemerges as Old Father Time. Baby New Year is a symbol of the child victim. Notice that all of the characteristics of Saturn are in place. The scythe, the watch as a symbol of time, and, of course, the child victim. A far more chilling representation of Father Time with Baby New Year can be found in this illustration from the 19th century. Father Time, Saturn as the god of time, is standing in front of a large clock, holding his scythe. The old years are passing away as full-grown bodies wrapped in burial shrouds. The new year is coming in as a young child. While the picture is quite dark, light from the fire is lighting the little boy, while on either side are swirls of smoke. The New Years still to come are portrayed as children ready to be sacrificed. Victims of child sacrifice were always heavily veiled so that their parents would not recognize when their child was burned. All the grotesque elements of this hideous god are contained in this picture. Saturn also emerges in modern society as the Grim Reaper, gathering in his bleak harvest of souls. Very few in modern society have recognized that Father Christmas, the Grim Reaper, and Old Father Time are none other than this most loathsome of all the gods. However, an ancient would immediately recognize them all as being none other than Saturn. The emblems which identified Saturn are the same, which identify Old Father Time and the Grim Reaper. Scythes and something to mark the passage of time.
Stay tuned for another exciting edition of Simply Your World. Thank you and welcome to my channel, Simply Your World, where we discuss past and present events that will affect you if they haven't already. If at any point you find this video interesting, please hit the like and subscribe button. I would highly appreciate it. If this is your first time to my channel, I want to say thank you. If you've been here before, I want to say thank you to you as well. But you know I do not like to speak too long before I actually get into the content. So with all that being said, I want to let you all know this video is about modern day child sacrifice, the contents inside of Pandora's box, and the ushering in of a new world, but probably not in the way that you think. I premised this video with that 3-minute clip to show you that as time passes, it seems as if there's an assault on our children, and there is a campaign to move the parents aside or to move them into their own world, because it seems as if the parents are arguing and fighting and got all these different hang-ups, got to go to work and all these extra things, while the children are seemingly being raised by another entity, or another entity is attacking our children. So I'm going to start this video with a maybe 3-4 minutes. I'm not going to play the whole clip in the beginning, but this is about a little boy named Desmond is Amazing, and how his mother is exploiting him, obviously, for some type of personal gain, whether money, whether a childhood she didn't get a chance to fulfill, or just whatever the case is. But I'm going to show you a very sad case of a little boy who is obviously mentally ill and being exploited for someone else's gain. So with all that being said, let's get into it.
And if you haven't heard the name Desmond Napoles, get ready for this trailblazing 11-year-old drag kid who RuPaul is calling the future. His bravery is inspiring so many. We're going to talk to him in just a moment, but first, let's take a look at his amazing story.
I'm Desmond. I'm 11 years old, and I like pizza, trains, and drinking root beer since it's caffeine-free. I also do drag, and I love to put on makeup, dresses, and wigs, and of course, jewelry is necessary. My full drag name is Desmond's Amazing. I feel very happy to have a mom that accepts me.
It really touches me deeply that there are other children out there that he's reaching and they're listening to him and he's influencing them to be themselves.
I'm very proud of him. I'm proud that he's found his path so early.
My greatest joy in this is just seeing Desmond happy.
I love doing drag because it makes me feel amazing and self-expressive. It just feels amazing to know that people love what I do. My one big message would be 3 words: be yourself always.
I want you all to notice how during this clip, just like then, the first thing they want to say is it's influencing the children, influencing other children, which could be my children, your children, whoever children, no matter how much we think that we are guarding our children's mind. It's so many different outside influences, from peer groups to television and media. You know, it's so many other things that influence our children outside of our upbringing. So as this video plays, I want to show you again how they keep referencing the children and how obviously the mom is the dominant one in a relationship and she's the one exploiting him, and the father seemingly is just along for the ride. So let's get back into it.
Welcome, Desmond Napoles, a.k.a. Desmond is Amazing.
Notice all these smiling faces in the crowd. I wonder how many is fake and how many people are genuine perverts.
Hello, Desmond. How are you? How you doing?
Thanks for being here. I love that you love root beer, caffeine free. I can get on board with that.
My mom doesn't like me drinking caffeine.
Does it make you hyper? Yeah, me too. They don't like when I drink caffeine either. But Desmond, you're one of the youngest and first drag queen / kids. And I've heard that you've gotten messages from young adults who look up to you for being who you are. What are some of the notes you've gotten?
Some of the notes I've gotten are like that you inspire me very much, and I wish I could have had the support that you have when I was a child.
Yeah. And your parents, we saw your parents in the piece that we did, and your parents are so supportive.
Again, it's all about the children. I cannot stress that point enough. If you have an opportunity to monitor your kids' media as much as you possibly can, please do so, because there is an silent attack. Well, it's not silent anymore. It is an attack on your child's mind in order to taint them and to separate them from your thought process. And in that gap between your thoughts and that blank space and them, they're filling that blank space up with their own thoughts. And we're definitely going to get into that. And I'm going to show you how deep this rabbit hole goes and exactly what was in Pandora's box.
But they've encouraged you to stay and be who you are. So how has that inspired you to be open about dressing in drag?
They support me by letting me do what I want to do, and letting me dress up and let me play with makeup and trains. And yeah, I really like trains. When I'm at a drag, most of the time I'm finding trains.
It's a tough world out there, and not everyone's accepting.
It's fine.
Well, we're all excited to have Desmond here, so thank you, Desmond. But we also have some people that wanted to come see you personally. So please welcome Head of Lettuce.
And this is what I mean by the ushering in of a new world, but probably not in the way that you think. You do see how a lot of these people that were a few years ago classified as mentally ill and with this gender dysphoria and things like that, now you see them being ushered to the front. And now you see older drag queens who are now on their way to double down on this little boy who is obviously mentally ill, obviously being exploited, to let him know he is the future of drag queens and he has a big shoes to fill, showing you that they're trying to usher in a new world and pass along the torch in two ways. The people who are not with the program or their program are being pushed to the side while their children are being exploited. And the people who know they're getting older, like the older drag queens, are helping to usher in the thought process of this lifestyle just to keep the world going. And as the world goes, that side of it is only going to get stronger and stronger to me, unless there is a divine intervention in some type of way. So the devil is too strong for his power to be wielded in one person. So now you see all these different drag queens coming out as the same person, but yet split in three different bodies to push the energy down on little Desmond. If any of that's making sense.
Hey, good morning to you. Good morning, America.
See, and the little boy even said he wasn't expecting this. So this is all a surprise. This is all put on by the older generation, okay, to tank the mind of the younger generation. Even if the little boy did want to change his mind, obviously he's not going to have a chance to, because the mother obviously is getting off on this. The father don't have a say so at all, and these people who don't even know little Desmond are feeding off his, or I say feeding off his energy. They're pushing their energy into him to try to get him to keep going through the future. It's sickening to me, man. But I could keep going, but let's just, for the sake of time, let's move on, okay? This here is, the next clip is going to be about, this is Millennial Millie. I definitely watch her all the time. Subscribe to her channel if you definitely want to see something different. She has really good content over there. I advise you to go check her out. Millennial Millie. Really good content. If you like my content, you will love hers, okay? This is a clip. She was actually conducting an interview from a lot of drag queens and a lot of children as well as a child, seemingly. And the child didn't get on the camera, but it was a child in the drag club, if you can believe that, right? And she's just asking them about this Drag Time Story Hour that they are pushing across the nation. If you don't know about this, they are trying to push or endorse drag queens coming into public libraries all across the nation, invite kids to the theatrics, and as they prance around and read books with their attire on, and they're twerking in front of the kids. And you will be surprised, as you will see during this clip, how many parents again, okay, are allowing this to happen, not realizing all they're doing is adding more fuel to the fire when it comes to the next generation of children's minds being tainted or warped in some kind of way. But
is where the drag queen story hour people were all rallying and meeting up after their protest. So it's some back alley bar called Bones. Let's take a look. Get over here, there's a kid in there.
look, so it's a kid in the gay bar. I couldn't even go into bars at 18. Even if I wasn't drinking, I couldn't even enter. But they allow young kids, 4 or 5 years old, playing with little cars, still in that mode, right? In a full drag club. Now watch the weirdos that come out of here, but keep yourself in the mind of that kid and see what they're realizing as normal, or what they're recognizing as normal.
Hey, so would you guys think it's okay to have a stripper time story hour?
No, but it's different than drag.
How?
Strippers actually show like pasties and more skin, where drag queens are just expressing themselves through their outfits.
Okay. But usually drag is a very sexualized adult entertainment show.
There are certain times, like, it doesn't have to be.
Okay. So what about...
And it doesn't have to be associated with that. It's people expressing themselves.
And I want you to notice how this lady right here speaking, she's actually conducting a nice interview. No matter what her views are, she's speaking back and forth, okay? But when her colleagues come out of that door, watch how her entire demeanor changes when she gets surrounded by the people who she is obviously supposed to be pleasing.
Do you think adult entertainers with the names Cunty Hornet, Macy Some Cox, do you think that people like that should be broadcasting their name and performing in front of little children?
I don't think that they would say the entire name.
They have. I've got it on video.
Where's the video?
I actually do story time with drag queens in Chicago, right? Yes, family programming. Please welcome to the stage, Cunty Hornet.
It's up on my YouTube channel, Millennial Millie.
Okay, thank you.
And they had little kids performing there, doing drag, taking clothes off, not to nakedness, but taking.
Now watch how put yourself in the mind of someone messing with a bee or a wasp nest. Watch how many people flood out of this club with the intentions, obviously, to hurt this girl, but they seen the cameras and things kind of changed, all because she's asking questions, searching questions about the lifestyle that they want to promote to everyone. But then when you decide to step in and start to ask questions about that lifestyle, they get mad. It's basically like talking to the television, one-way communication. They talking to you and you better not say shit back. And if you do say something back, we're not hearing you. And eventually you're going to shut up and you're still going to listen to our programming. This is what it seems like to me.
Clothes off, and they also had drag queens twerking on the floor in nothing but nylons in little tiny hoochie booty shorts in front of kids. I mean, do you think that this is appropriate behavior in front of children?
I grew up in the community and I grew up perfectly fine.
Okay. But do you think that's over-sexualization?
I think that people should live and let live, right? If I have a child, I get to determine what that child does. Whether that's eat healthy or not, whether that is see something that I find is okay or not, whatever show they watch, wherever they go, that's my child.
Now, this is the unaccountability of women, or a lot of women. I can't say all, so excuse me. But for a lot of women and people who want to just get their agenda off, this is their point. What now? So you telling me you can let your kid watch whatever you want because it's your kid? All right, cool. So what about me having a child and I'm at the bank and I'm like, well, here, watch this porn channel while I handle my business at the bank? That don't make sense at all. Okay, watch these snuff films while I run into the grocery store real quick. It's my child. I can do what I want. No, your mind has been tainted with that my body, my choice. So now all of a sudden you think your kid, when the baby come out, it came out of your body, so it's still your choice. Come on, man. Please stop playing with me. But anyway, let's get back into it. Let's just get back into it.
But do you really think it's appropriate to be having drag queens perform story times to children?
I grew up in this community from a very young age in the drag community, and I had my 16th birthday at a cabaret. Fuck yeah, I had fun, and I grew up perfectly fine.
Okay, so what's the difference between a drag queen and somebody that's trans?
That's an irrelevant question. That is not what we're here to talk about.
Is there a difference between a trans person and a drag queen?
It's people expressing themselves however they want.
That does not relate to this build-in conversation at all.
Okay. Well, it's important because
now all these are just relevant questions
that are not transgender and that are not gay.
Don't talk to them.
Excuse you. You're the one coming over towards me.
Don't talk to them because they'll just edit it for their own advantage.
Do you think it's appropriate to be having children? Do you think that stripper time story hour would be appropriate? Don't touch me. Get your hand off of me.
Don't you
touch me.
Get back inside. Get back inside.
You see what I mean? Like, check this out. Check this out. People that look at, you see this dude with this taser, obviously homosexual, 300 pounds, already mad, with all these people behind him. You are in for the fight of your life if you get into it with these people. And you know as well as I know that they do not play fair. You get sliced, you get bricked, you get shot, you get choked, you'll get dismantled in there, man, messing with them homosexual people, man. Everybody knows this. You know? And if the cameras wasn't out there, she'd probably be getting drugged right now. I mean, like, it is really, really scary, for real, the things you would have to do to get yourself out of a situation if you ever got into a situation with somebody like this or like these people.
Okay, so they're putting their tasers on. Did you know that brandishing a taser like that is a crime? All right.
Bye, Millie.
Do you think it's okay to have a stripper story time?
Yes.
You think a stripper story hour is appropriate for kids?
You look like you're great one.
Yeah.
You know.
Now we're gonna move on, but I just want to show y'all that, to show you that it is an attack on the children. That's what this whole thing is about. They are trying to uphold the fact that it is okay to endorse their lifestyle and force it onto your children in their arenas now, inside the public library, inside the school, on the television, on KCPT, you know, all the YouTube Kids channels. I mean, they gotta have a reference to this lifestyle in some kind of way. You know, I'm going to show you what I meant by what was inside Pandora's box, because. Okay, here we go. Here, let me scroll down. First, let me expand my screen a little bit. Then we're going to scroll down to here. In mythology. Now, let's read this. According to Hesiod, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, when Prometheus stole fire from heaven, Zeus, the king of the gods, took vengeance by presenting Pandora to Prometheus' brother, Epimetheus. Pandora opened a jar left in her care containing sickness, death, and many other unspecified evils which were released into the world. Though she hastened to close the container, only one thing was left behind. usually translated as hope, though it would also have the pessimistic meaning of deceptive expectations. From this story has grown the idiom, to open a Pandora's box, meaning to do or start something that will cause many unforeseen problems. A modern, more colloquial equivalent is to open a can of worms. So we can kind of dissect that a little bit. When it comes to the sickness, death, and other specified evils, when everyone said, it's okay to live your life. Be who you want to be. Do what you will. You only live once. All those different things were the construction of the passing of the torch. Because you have people as young as 5 years old, 6 years old, saying that they can be who they want to be. And you say, well, Brian, we know people can't be who they want to be, but yet at the same time, they have took legislation and changed the idea of sex to gender. So now with the word gender being in your mind, I'm going to show you how they allow the wormhole to get deeper and deeper and add on to this alphabet LBGTQIAP2 plus or something like that. They're trying to add every letter to the alphabet and trying to encase everybody's thoughts and emotions inside of this LBGTism. Now, what I mean by that is you have something called xenogender. Okay, let's back this up. We're going to talk about xenogenders. Xenogender is showing you how your child is being sacrificed. And it's only about the children. It's not about you. It's not about the older man. It's not about the middle-aged man. It's not about them at all. It is about us at all. It is about the children and our children's children and our children's children and just keep on going forward. The ushering in and passing of a torch and to bring in a whole new time, whole new generation. A xenogender is another category of the gender dysphoria train, okay, where now they have moved into where now your gender is how you feel that doesn't fit inside of a masculine or feminine box. Okay, I'm going to let this person here describe part of it. I'm going to come back with my commentary. I'm going to show you how deep this wormhole truly goes. Xenogenders. Let's get started.
Hey, what is up, your Emperor Royalty? I'm Miss Explains and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about xenogender. So basically what xenogender is it is a gender identity that cannot be described in a typical way. It is described using nouns, something sensory, or even something neurological. So it does not fit into things like feminine, masculine, non-binary. It is really only able to be described through nouns, sensory things, or neurological things.
So you have what they say, you have masculine, feminine, I think, and then you said non-binary, right? It can't fit inside of those things. So a new category is xenogender, where now your gender fits inside of a noun. And for people who don't know what nouns are, they are a person, a place, or a thing. Okay? Sensory experiences, it can be something that you've seen, like the wind blowing across your face. My gender is cool breeze on my face. Literally. I went so far as to see somebody talking about they are a deer gender, okay, a person, place, or a thing gender. I feel like an apple, or I feel like a cake. And you think it's a game? I'm going to show you where there's a truly thing called cake gender, where they feel light, fluffy, and many layers. This is a even though it may not be a thing to me, it is going to be a thing to our children and our children's children. That is the point of this channel, to teach you or to tell you about past and present events that will affect you if they have not already. And I truly believe if your child is being affected, you're being affected. If you're any kind of parent, if your child is being affected, you're being affected. Okay, you can look the other way if you want to, but it's still happening whether you say something about it or not. But let's keep going.
So this gender does not fit under the typical human English term of just a typical gender. It is not contained by the normal human understanding of gender. So when people are xenogender, they actually feel a very strong connection to their gender, but the problem is they don't have a great way to describe it, and the way that they do that is through nouns, sensory things, neurological things, because that is the only way for them to even come close to describing how their gender exists for them. So, for example, for a noun gender, which is under the umbrella term of xenogender, people can use a noun to describe how they're feeling about their gender. For example, they might feel that their gender is like snow. And they could say it is similar to that. So with a xenogender, they use these things to help describe how they feel about their gender. It's usually like a metaphor to describe it, or show like what feels similar or what experiences kind of capture what they're feeling. And then another subcategory is aesthetogenders, which is where somebody uses aesthetics or sensory things to describe their gender. So they could say that their gender feels like blue.
Man, I can't make this shit up. So we got xenogender, we have noun gender, we have aesthetic gender, and then we're going to get into one called Melius gender. Okay? These are all the different letters that are not in the LGBT that they are trying to use. The N, the M, the X. You know what I'm saying? All just to deter your kids, or to have your kids in some kind of vacuum or warp, or just whatever the hell you want to call it, man. A warp zone, a time rip, or just whatever you want to call it, man. To usher away, like as we grew up, and you seem like one generation teaches the next. They're trying to create a gap between generations, man, and place themselves inside it and allow it to fester and continue to move the parents away from the children. If any of that makes sense. Okay. So you can go into your mind and just pretty much make up your gender. And you have to adhere to it because there's been laws passed. The CB, what is it in Canada? The SB, I forgot, 45 or the SB 38 or 36 or something like that, where you actually have to adhere to someone's gender. You have to what's the word they used? You have to accommodate people that feel as if they are in a different role or a different gender, if under basically a civil rights code, a civil rights act. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Just hold on. Let me see if I can find. I'll find that later. I'll add in another video. But there's actually a law in Canada that you actually have to conform or adhere to another person's gender, or you can be brought up on charges. Now, show you how deep this goes and how deep the rabbit hole really is. Pause that. And I'm going to tell you that there's a thing called cake gender. All right, check this out.
As a gender that cannot typically be described with terms such as masculinity, femininity, neutrality, androgyny, things like that. It's more of not how you relate to a particular gender experience, but more of how you relate to things. For example, cake gender. I know a few people who personally use this. It's typically described as them feeling light and fluffy or sweet and warm, and it's not something that you could typically describe with the terms masculine, feminine, androgynous, etc. Another example of cake gender would be if someone feels like they have different layers or flavors to their particular gender. Okay, I would describe xenogenders as a gender that could not typically be described with terms such as masculinity, femininity, neutrality, androgyny, things like that. It's more of not how you relate to a particular gender experience, but more of how you relate to things.
You see what I mean? Like there's a hedge being built around mentally ill people, all with the purpose of tainting your kids. All with the purpose of tainting your kids, man. You know, I know I make my videos sometimes kind of raw, you know, it's going back and forth and you can kind of see my screen, but who cares about that? You know what I mean? I could definitely take my time to do all that, but then my editing process would be much longer. So I'm getting the video out there. I'm definitely showing you that there's things called cake genders, xenogenders, aesthetic genders, where you can actually make up what you want to be and make someone adhere to it, all with the purpose of destroying your children. You know, I'm going to leave it right here. Do your own research to see how far this goes. You probably can leave a comment in the box, probably something I don't know about. So, until next time.